I'm Lexie Looker, and I'm getting the opportunity to chat with Paige Dendiu today.
Yeah, what is it?
Hi.
Tell me how you got your start as a professional rider and trainer.
It was right out of when I was a junior, and I got an assistant training job with Victoria La Cognina at Storia Stables, and I worked there for about 4 years, and then after that I took over at Highland Farm in Palos Verdes.
Who's been your favorite horse and why?
I think my favorite horse as a professional is a new horse that I have. His name's Cornerstone. He's 6. And he's just amazing. He's a good mover, he's a good jumper, his mind is amazing, and I'm really excited for the future with him.
How long have you had him?
I've had him since December. We bought him in Europe, and my friend kept him over there and developed him for a little bit, and then we brought him over, and this has been his first circuit, and he was champion every week that I didn't blow it. And he finished the circuit reserve champion and 4th in the Young Hunter final.
What was your most memorable horse show moment?
In Temecula, I did a national derby in the Grand Prix ring, and I was 1st, 2nd, and 3rd on client-owned horses, and being in the Grand Prix ring and the atmosphere of everything, and it was my first national derby win and my first shot to kind of have that quality of horses to ride, and it was amazing.
It was a good start. Who inspires you the most?
I would say probably my mom, because she's my biggest supporter and also my harshest critic. She never lets me get, too big of a head when I'm riding, and when I'm down, she knows the right things to say to, make me put the pieces back together.
How would you describe your riding style?
I mean, I grew up riding with Nick, so I would say most hunter people try to mimic Nick. I would say I don't hold the reins a ton, and I like a horse that's quieter versus one that's hotter, but I am open to riding anything, so I would say I ride pretty soft, more from my leg than from my hand.
What advice would you give to an up-and-coming rider?
I would say to a young up-and-coming rider, attitude is everything, and this sport, you have the highest highs and the lowest lows, and you can have your best day and go to your worst day, and no matter what, you come out, you pet your horse. Attitude is everything, and you can only do the best you can, and some things go right and some things go wrong, and you got to just keep going forward.
What's a typical day like for you at the barn?
So I'd say we get to the barn between 7:30 and 8. We walk around, check on the horses, make sure everybody's doing well, nobody has any weird things on their legs. We mainly have kids, so we do most of our training rides in the morning. And then our afternoons from about 1 o'clock to 4:30 are kind of jam-packed with lessons. The kids come after school, everybody rides. I have wonderful assistants who do the grain and things like that, so I would say my main things at home are riding and teaching and, all of those sorts of things.
If you've competed or participated in any USHJA programs, how would you say that they affected your career?
The USHJA classes, the national derbies are amazing. They're a fair height, so you can do it on a green horse, you can do it on more of an educated horse. They give the horses good experiences to see more impressive jumps without having to have a 3-6 horse. You can do any kind of level horse that you're bringing up, so I would say that gives you a good way to develop a horse or, be competitive on one that's already going. How did you first get started with riding?
I've started riding since before I can remember. Both my parents were in the sport. My mom's ridden since she was about 8 years old, so I think I had my first pony bought before I was even born.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about being involved with horses? What about outside of riding?
I think even more than the competition aspect, just what it teaches you as a person, being so diligent, so disciplined, having someone that's always going to hold you accountable for how well you do and how well you take care of them. Also, I think just the bond that you can create with them and see how that pays off when you actually are competing.
And what about outside of riding?
I'd say that I use a lot of the tools that I learned from riding outside of riding also in my real day job. I'm an accountant when I'm not at a horse show. So I think that just being that disciplined and that organized is helpful to apply to the real world too.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite horse that you ride? What do you like most about them?
I think my favorite would have to be Paddington. He's a horse that I had. I've owned him for about 12 years now. and I showed him all the way from the children's hunters into the AO hunters. And so just to be able to have a horse for that long and have that kind of relationship with him and bond with him, especially, he's a little bit difficult and a little bit fussy, so getting to know him that well has really paid off and feels even more rewarding.
Who inspires you the most in the riding world?
I don't know, there's so many great riders to look up to. I'd say in the hunter world, Nick Hannes would always have to be the top pick, just especially because he's a West Coaster, and seeing him in recent years even, go to the East Coast and do so well, it always makes you feel like actually the hard work that you're doing is paying off, and, he's won so many finals and done so well. So he's always one that I would look up to.
What's something you would like to improve on in your riding?
I think something that I need to work on in my riding is straightness and track. I tend to like to turn a little early, get a little bit wiggly, and I tend to ride pretty soft with my hand and leg, so I don't think that always helps. So better steering.
Yeah. What's your favorite show you've been to?
I think my favorite show would have to be Devon. It's just such a fun atmosphere. They've got the fair there. There's so many spectators that aren't even horse people, just from the community around that come to watch. And it always just feels like such a special event. The main ring is such a great atmosphere, and there's nowhere on the West Coast that we get to show that's like that. So, to be my favorite.
Yeah, I've never been there, but it looks amazing. Is there a USHJA program you hope to participate in?
I'd like to do the USHJA Amateur Jump Seat Medal Finals. That was something that just started, I think, the first year that I became an amateur. And it just looks like it's such a fun final. I did the USET as a kid, and so getting to compete in something that's kind of similar as an amateur is a fun opportunity, because there aren't really any other classes like that for adults to do.